Time now to talk some Packers. Our conversation with Aaron Nagler, sponsored by Miller Lite, by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. And by Rogers Behavioral Health. Mr. Nagler, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Czabe. Good morning, boys. How we doing? I'm directing that mostly to one guy and Czabe rather than Josh, because I know Josh ain't doing well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome.
Butchie and I are taking this more in stride, to be sure.
Right.
Which has only further angered Josh on top of his sorrow. He's sad that counsel has left, and he's now angry at both of us.
It's the stages of grief. It's understandable.
Kubler-Ross. Yes, work through the stages, work through the process. That said, I ask you, Mr. Nagler, was the Favre divorce more traumatic, in your opinion? Because you love the Brewers as well.
I love the Brewers, not as probably emotionally as I do the Packers. But, yeah, no, the Favre betrayal, let's call it what it was far more hurtful, disgusting. I think it seared itself into the soul of the state in a way that counsel going to the Cubs is awful, but like it doesn't. I don't think it approaches the Favre thing.
Okay, interesting. And in what ways was it worse? Was it like I said, he was giving plays to other teams once he left, and he really felt like he had to stick it to the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Ted Thompson stuff he hated Ted essentially and wanted to prove that Ted had made a mistake and trying to move on from him. And it was just the way that it divided the fan base. Like, I think, Craig Counsell, for all he did in Milwaukee, and it was a lot, he's a great manager, and I really wanted him to stay, but I don't think people are going to be like, naming their kids or have named their kids after Craig or are going to be wearing Counsell Cub jerseys to Brewers games. We saw that with Favre, that he was worshipped. He was an idol. We saw Favre Vikings jerseys at Lambeau Field when the Vikings played the Packers. It's just a different level.
You're not going to see Counsell Cubs jerseys, although maybe.
I doubt it.
So, Josh, are you shocked that
you'd see it from a Cubs fan, though? You wouldn't see it.
From a Cubs fan, definitely.
Fan wants to troll.
Yeah.
Who wants to troll? That's it. You wouldn't see it like
right.
Like they did with Favre. Like that was different.
Josh, are you a little bit surprised that your sports fan kumbaya mate, Mr. Nagler, is trying to tell you that Favre was worse? Because you don't seem to think that.
I can definitely see it. I mean, he was the Packers legend being the quarterback. He wasn't in a managerial role at the time. So no, I can see it. The difference is that Favre didn't go straight from the Packers to the Vikings.
There was the year, a buffering year.
He had a detour in New York
JFK
that made it. It did ease the wound a little bit. When he did go to Minnesota, right, Nags? We were like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. But if he would have gone straight from Green Bay to Minnesota, they would have been.
But which he wanted to. The Packers were able to drive it.
Right, but he still didn't.
Right.
And this was straight.
I get it, man. Trust me, I understand the pain. I understand the anger. I completely get where you're at emotionally. Like, it's hard to divorce yourself from that emotion. And hey, man, wallow in it. This is the time to do it. I mean, God knows. You look at the list of guys they're bringing in to interview, and it's like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, Gary Stenson.
It ain't. It's going to get late real early in Milwaukee, so just feed on your emotion.
Name the managers. They did this earlier, Nags. Go ahead and name the managers of the teams in baseball. Anyways, you can't.
Oh, exactly. That's a fair point.
What kind of deal? I mean, come on now.
I like Matt Arnold. I will say, I've been pleasantly surprised by Matt Arnold. I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
I like him too. So, pivoting to football, I assume last night we all caught parts at least of the Jets game up. Butchie didn't. He was calling the Badgers' new record at home at Kohl Center, 105 points.
What's up with this Badgers offense? Holy cow. Like, what?
I don't know. Hey, come on, Matt LaFleur. Come on down.
Let's get some. Let's let some of that rub off. Can we save some points for Lambeau? My goodness.
Last night, Aikman was as strenuous as I've ever heard Troy Aikman be, just killing the inadequacy of Zach Wilson and just saying, man, it's got to be tough in that locker room because he ain't it.
He ain't it. Well, I saw I saw some conversation starting to percolate online last night, and I think it's about time, where when do the Jets decision makers get their feet held to the fire the way Brian Gutekunst does seemingly every other week? Like, how is Joe Douglas escaping any kind of scrutiny for the fact that not only did you had this master plan of you're bringing in Aaron Rodgers, a soon-to-be 40-year-old quarterback where injury, you got to think, is a possibility, and your plan was to stick with the guy who was so bad that you're going to have him back up the aging, brittle quarterback?
Look at what the Vikings did. A quick, they lose their guy Kirk
Made
Cousins.
a move.
Great deadlines
Instantly.
Tuesday. Okay, we're gonna go get somebody at least. We're gonna make a move.
I think they probably got caught up in. They won a few games people didn't think they had any business winning. Their defense has certainly been lights out for the most part of the season, and they thought we're going to win ugly. This is who we are, blah, blah, blah. The problem is you still have Zach Wilson, who's just giving games away, or trying to anyway. I mean, that's just hard.
So
it's hard to watch.
Shrimpy McRunaround is what I call him. He might have played with you, and you're like, that ain't it.
Classic. I will say he's a classic coach killer. He's a classic coach killer because you see there is talent there. There is athleticism. He's got the arm strength. So you as a coach are like, I just got to harness it. I just got to try to figure out a way to work with it. And you can't. He's too scattershot. He's way too undisciplined, and he doesn't learn from his mistakes. That's the other thing. It's like, I get it if we're in week 3. It's halfway through the season now, and he's still doing what we saw him doing last year, 2 years ago, on display for the whole country last night. Joe Douglas, man, if this is your plan, I don't understand. I don't get it. And why he's escaping scrutiny is beyond me.
Okay, let's go to the Packers. Not only was it glorious to see Aaron Jones get 20 carries.
Yes, sir.
Plus 4 touches. Hallelujah. Yes, sir. Yesterday shook free a little bit of digital asset of him after Dontavion Wicks fumbled, intercepting Wicks as he came to the sideline, head down in utter despair, like, I can't believe I just allowed that to happen. And Aaron Jones, leader, grabs him gently by the face mask, lifts his head up, gets eye to eye with him to pick him up. My God. What a guy. What a man. What a leader.
Thank God for Aaron Jones. It's literally a movie moment. You know what I mean? It's a moment from a film that gets made about the 2023 Green Bay Packers, and this is your leader, Aaron Jones. It's surreal to see, and we're so lucky to have him on the team. I understand running backs, their value, all of that. This is what I was talking about all offseason when people talked about Aaron Jones and paying running backs and all of this. I'm like, I don't care. Whatever you want to say about roster construction and whatever, I care about the people inside those helmets. And Aaron Jones is prime example of a guy who you want on your football team for that very reason. And the fact that, he finally got touches and he's finally healthy, hopefully, he's able to spark this team, and I don't think they're going to win a ton of games down the stretch here, but he makes it a little bit more viable and a little more entertaining, and he's a great leader. You love to see that.
Okay, so we talk about being a leader. Then Rasul Douglas was a leader. We heard about the locker room, how everybody, was devastated that he was leaving. Well, guess what? They also got to see what they have in Carrington Valentine, and it was pretty darn good. You have to do that when you're in an evaluation period. And
this season especially, right? When you get a surprise call and someone's like, we'll give you this asset for a guy who, is a leader, but, you did get him off the practice squad a couple years ago. Now you're flipping him for what is turning out to be a 3rd-round pick. Yeah, I think that's just good roster management. And I will say, shout out to Carrington Valentine, a guy who we all saw got picked on in Denver pretty regularly. Yeah. And he bounced back in a big way. I don't doubt for a moment there were maybe some folks holding their breath thinking, okay, we got some really good receivers coming in Lambeau. And, hey, the kid did not shy away from the challenge and really stepped up.
And I think that's my thing is, as much as leadership is important, right? Aaron Jones, you need a guy. You don't need a bunch of them right now in a season like this.
Totally agree.
You need to evaluate where you're at every position and be honest. Now, the next question I have for Aaron Jones, hamstring's good. He's ready to go. If you're Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers, you better find out if you can run him into the ground and if he can respond and stay healthy, because that changes what you do moving forward with A.J. Dillon. And so is that the right thought process there? Give him the ball rest of the year and see what you got. See if he can hold up.
Right. I mean, you're asking the number one fan, club member, founding member of the Aaron Jones fan club. So I'm always in favor of getting Aaron Jones as many touches as possible. But I think so, yeah. I mean, the whole offense operates at a different level when he's involved, like through the air, on the ground, or whatever. I would hope so. I will say it is interesting, though, for all the talk we've heard, and rightfully so, about Aaron Jones getting his touches, and then, ergo, we get production on the offensive side of the ball. Emmanuel Wilson looked really nice in that game. He got, a handful of carries. I do wonder if they start to kind of mix him in a little bit more second half of the season. Maybe they trust him a little bit more in pass pro and things of that nature because, as you say, it's an evaluation year. And we got to see what this kid is, what he's about. Can he hold up? Does he know, the protections as well as they think he does? Like, I think we'll start to see him a little bit more as opposed to A.J. Dillon as the season goes on. Because like you say, Butch, you got to figure out what you're doing with A.J. contract-wise. It's his final year of his rookie deal, So I think Aaron Jones is the fulcrum, but we'll see other guys mixed in.
All right, Nagler, you're a man of cinema. You are a theater major, right, back in the day?
Acting, correct. God help us.
Theater major, you're a man of cinema. You're also a man of memes, I believe. You love a good meme. You traffic in memes.
Sure.
In the digital space.
Do you even meme, bro?
I'm scared to know where this is going.
Have you seen the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Oh, of course, several times. I own it on iTunes. Yes.
And what did you think of it?
It's a little long. A little long for my taste, but I enjoyed it. Some great performances.
It takes quite a violent turn at the end.
Yeah, it's a Tarantino film, of course. Yes, they all do.
Right. Okay. So there's a great meme in that movie or there's a great scene that becomes a meme where DiCaprio sitting on the couch drinking a beer sees something on TV and does the snap, goes whoop, right there.
Mm-hmm.
What was it in the movie that he saw or the TV he saw that made him just jump to attention and point? You remember?
Himself on television.
It was himself in television. He's like, whoop. Yeah. Okay. So
there
people use that meme. People use that meme of him just sitting there go whoop like that.
Yeah, right.
I want to know what needs to happen with this otherwise boring Packer team for you to go DiCaprio and go and point.
Oh, man.
What is that? What would it take for you to do that? Because you can agree this has not been an exciting team.
No, it's fits and starts, and it's hard to watch, and I get it. But hey, man, we came close. Came close on Sunday. I think there were a couple fluke plays. You mentioned the Wicks fumble, and then Jones fumbling himself the very next drive. The weird offside penalties on offense, like. Can we just have a game where we look efficient on offense and are able to? And they did a little bit as far as picking up third downs and scoring some points.
Would Jordan Love ending this insane 300-yard passing drought make you go, oh,
no.
Finally.
You know what it is? I know what it is. It won't happen this week because they're on the road. But next week when they're back in Lambeau, can someone do a freaking Lambeau leap? Can we remember the face of our fathers? Musgrave gets in the end zone. First time ever in the NFL catching a touchdown pass. You're in the friendly confines of Lambeau Field. And he just kind of looks at the crowd and turns around and walks back. I mean, can we get in, as Robert Brooks so eloquently stated back in the day, jump in the stands. Jump in the stands, boys.
Go with it. The best part was the second line of Robert Brooks.
Come on.
To the Packer fan.
There you go. See?
I know, absolutely.
Let's go.
Give a hug.
Get in the that would get the DiCaprio from me.
Josh, you said Kraft threw the ball away, or not Kraft, but
Musgrave
threw the ball away.
Yeah, and I don't think they got it back either.
Did not Lambeau leap?
No Lambeau leaps. My Camille, my podcast co-host at Cheesehead TV, noted this week, and I think she's right. I think we've seen more opponents do the Lambeau leap this season than we've seen Packers players.
Oh my God,
that's depressing.
Yes.
That's probably true too.
It's probably true. Exactly. I got to go back and look, but I think she's right.
She probably is right. Yeah.
All right. For more today, it's Carry the G Radio right here on the game, noon to 2. Nags and the boys, and we'll get into it deeper on some Packer stuff. Big game against the Steelers.
Big game.
Pedigree. Steelers, Packers. I mean, iconic brands.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And a team that the Steelers know how to win at the end of games. It's frustrating if you don't like them, but they've been winning.
Yeah, unless it's in a Super Bowl against Green Bay, then they don't.
Yeah, see. All right, buddy. Thanks. Aaron
Thanks,
Nagler,
guys. Talk to you
brought
next
to
week.
you as always by Miller Lite, Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference, and by Rogers Behavior.